You saw that correctly. 100% predictions correct. Boom. I'm back with another video looking at how I got on with the predictions I've done at the early season. Yeah, okay, slightly misleading, 100% correct. Some of the leagues were woeful in terms of predictions, but what we did do is 100% correct champions from each division. I told you at the start of the season, Manchester City would win the Premier League, Norwich would win the Championship, Hull City would win League One, and Cheltenham Town would be the League Two champions, and all four rang true. So let's get into the divisions then and have a look then. This was my table for the Premier League at the start of the season as we compare the two. A little bit way off, you would probably have to say. Manchester City obviously won the league as predicted. It was one place off with Liverpool, a couple of places off with Manchester United, one place off with Chelsea. Leicester I thought would have a good year, but they've done better than what I thought. Tottenham got them one place off as well. Leeds only a couple of places off. Everton one place off, and the rest is quite catastrophic. And you'd have to say, although we predicted two of the bottom three that would get relegated, great credit this season for Aston Villa and West Ham United. I predict them to be two of the bottom four, and as you can see, West Ham United qualified for the Europa League, and Aston Villa had a very respectable 11th place. You have to feel that they probably feel a bit disappointed they weren't top half, because some of the football they were playing, especially up until January, was very, very good on the eye. And Villa, had a lot of plaudits and a good lot of credit this season. Palace and your Brightons and Southampton, I think, they speak for themselves, and Burnley, they're always going to be there about surviving. They're a bit of worries, bit of struggle. Brighton have been very impressive, and I think they're a team that can really push on next season. Clean sheets were not an issue at all. They can find that goal scorer and get Trossard and everyone, people like that, performing a lot more frequently. Brighton can push on a little bit next year, and why can't they be someone like Wolves have done for the last few years, have a season like Leeds or Everton or someone like that? There's real potential there, and Potter's very well thought of, linked with Tottenham as well. One team that's very disappointed, and one team I had mid-table, obviously Sheffield United, an absolute nightmare start for them last year, and they will be playing Championship football next year without that man, Chris Wilder. Big turnaround up there at Bramall Lane, but yeah, comparing the predictions, a lot close predictions than what I have in other divisions. But a couple of teams that are really overperformed from what I compared them to, and one team that really didn't do the job, and that was Sheffield United. Let's take a look at now the Championship. So, as we normally do, let's dissect the positives first. This is my table, and comparing that to how it actually finished. Well, Norwich top, spot on. Brentford, we said, would be third. We were one place out with Swansea. I thought Reading would have a good season. We spoke about that, and I thought mid-table would be good for them, but they overdone that, and they were fantastic. Middlesbrough, spot on, really, in terms of we thought they would be comfortable and wouldn't have a struggle this year, but probably not to the standards of getting to the playoffs, and they pretty much rang true of that. Stoke City, spot on. Around about the places, really, for Bristol City and Coventry. Which worked, but and Wickham, I think, were nailed on to get relegated, and they were always going to put a fight on, weren't they? Gareth Ainsworth, he really is a battler with his squads, and you've got to give Wickham some great credit compared to the structure they have, compared to a lot of those clubs that are down there. They took it to the last day, and they can be very proud to go back into League One, yes, but knowing that they can compete at the top end again next season to try and get back to the Championships. Now let's talk about the less success, shall we? Second in the league, Nottingham Forest. I don't think that sounded crazy a few months ago, but when you look at it now, it is laughable. At one point, October, November time, they looked like they were in real danger of being relegated back into League One, and they kind of had that little stability, brought a couple of boys in, the form of a few of them improved, and and finally got away from that bottom three. We're never really in trouble towards the end, but a bad season for Forest. I think a poor season for Millwall. I think they really should have pushed on, and 11th is good in terms of the clubs and structures that have got in this division. But I think Gary Rowett would be expecting a bit more from Millwall next season. I thought they could make a good push for the playoffs this year. Wasn't enough. They did have a good run of form after Christmas, but that wasn't quite enough to get them near the top. Bournemouth, I had a mid-table. I thought Tyndall would have a struggle this year. Obviously, he ended up being removed. Woodgate come in, and the form improved. But obviously, the playoff final will be between Brentford and Swansea. Two teams that I really knew that they would have a strong season, especially Swansea. Had some great additions. Jamal Lowe's taken to them like he did with Wigan last year, very much on form. So, Swansea Brentford will be a very good final. Watford done very well. Thought they'd be playoffs. I thought the amount of changes they had, they wouldn't have that, the level of quality that the results showed of what they had, but they did, and they finished second. Behind Norwich. Luton Town had an amazing season, didn't they? I thought they would go down. I had them down with Wycombe and QPR, and I thought Luton were absolutely outstanding in most of the results they had this year. What a season. And 12th, mid-table, considering they were not long ago in League Two. QPR, I think my prediction was looking okay around October, November time. Forgive me if that's a little bit way off, but a good run of form at some part of the season really pushed them up. And what a finish they had. 9th in the league. Very good for QPR. And if they can keep on to a couple of their boys and, make a couple of additions, and Charlie Austin can continue to score goals, why not? Can they be the surprise for next year? I thought Rotherham would stay up, and they put a good fight up, and I felt really, really sorry for Paul Ward. What an interview that was on the last day when he was feeling very emotional about taking them down yet again to League One. Definitely the yo-yo side of this league between the Championship and League One. And I thought they might have stayed up. I thought they had enough about them. And I thought at one point they looked like it. The games in hand looked strong, but they were running out. Couldn't get the results in them games in hand and ended up going down. Ultimately, I think the division looks okay for my predictions, but a hell of a lot which were a bit of a stinker. Another team we've got to touch on is Blackburn Rovers. I think Mowbray would have been disappointed with them this season. Armstrong continued his goals, and I thought they'd have a push for the playoffs, but they didn't, and it was pretty tragic. Derby County as well, obviously, we'll be hoping for better next season. Heading towards now League One. This was my prediction at the start of the season, and this is how it shaped up. Hull City win the league, and exactly where I had them. Peterborough United finished second, and they would be playing Championship football next year. I had Peterborough in third, so just missing out. They were on the other side of the dotted line and got the job done. The other side I did say would get promotion with Hull was Oxford. They had a strong end to the season after a bit of a woeful start, and Carl Robinson pulled it around a little bit, didn't he? They ended up finishing 6th, pipping Portsmouth into the playoffs and Charlton on the last day of the season. Obviously out of the playoffs now, the final will be contested between Blackpool and Lincoln City. But Oxford did have a pretty decent season on the face of things, as predicted, but just not as well as what I thought they would. Sunderland, 1 place away. I thought they would be 5th. They ended up being 4th. You look at the bottom 4, predicted 2 of the 4 that went down, haven't I? Rochdale and Rotherham. 3 of the bottom 4, Swindon as well, isn't it? They're there as well. I thought they would go down from League One at the first time of asking. The only side that I did get wrong was Wimbledon, who ended up finishing 2 places above the bottom 4, and Bristol Rovers finished rock bottom. I thought when Joey Barton came in that there would probably be enough for them to stay up, but really their squad wasn't good enough. I think Joey will get them ticking, and there'll be an exciting time towards League 2 next year for the Pirates and the Gas Army, but at the moment they will not be League 1 next season, which is a big shame for the following. A few other predictions that we got right. There's not much there, is there really? Shrewsbury were a place out. Burton, we were a place out. What a remarkable job Hasselbank did when he came in. Plymouth finished a lot lower than what I thought they would. Thought they would have a pretty strong season and maybe push for the playoffs. MK Dons, we said they'd have a good season. They would turn it round and they would have a place in the top half this year. Just missing out. They're a point away, really, from where a couple of points away from finishing 10th is where I predicted them. I did think they'd be strong this year. Middle of the road league for Ipswich, and exactly what they kind of got, wasn't it? Paul Cook couldn't get them turning around, but I'm sure there'll be big things to come from him and Ipswich next year. Accrington done brilliantly. Crewe were fantastic this season. Some of the football they played was pretty strong. Charlton just missed out on the playoffs. I thought they'd be in it. Pompey, well, I thought they would miss out on the playoffs due to obviously Jamal Lowe leaving, not replacing people like that last year. They still really didn't recover from that. Jacket, did he overstay his welcome? You'd probably say yes over the failed of the couple of years that they didn't get up. But they just missed out this year. First year they haven't been in the playoffs since the last couple of years. So they'll look to bounce back next season under Danny Cowley. A very, very strong league this will be next year with Pompey not going up, Sunderland, Oxford, Ipswich, Bolton coming back up, Sheffield Wednesday coming down, and obviously the forces of Rotherham, Wickham, one of the losing playoff finalists this year. And there's a lot of teams that I think will be stronger next year, which we'll pick up in the prediction season next season. But Hull City win the league as predicted, and 3 of the bottom 4 that went down was predicted as well. Pretty strong stuff there from my predictions in League One. So that was League One. Let's look at League Two. So again, that was the table, and this was actually how it finished. Cheltenham Town champions as predicted in the predictions video at the start of the season. Cambridge United ended up finishing second. I thought Cambridge would have a good year. Had them been ninth. They really overdid that, didn't they? And they did have a good season, finishing in second. The other side that got promoted automatically was Bolton Wanderers. And you know what? At the start of the season, if you recall and watched, I said that Bolton would be one of those sides that everyone would raise their game for and find it such a struggle at the start of this season, and a few results wouldn't go their way, which is why I didn't think that 3 teams potentially could have picked them to promotion. And it was very true, wasn't it? I mean, look all the way till January, it looked like they could be in a relegation fight more than the top 3. But Ian Evatt really turned it round, and the board stuck with him. They didn't waver under fan pressure. But could that have been different if fans were allowed in the ground? Maybe. But Bolton carried on with him, and the form and the quality that Bolton showed towards the end of the season was certainly impressive. And they got promoted on the final day. Fantastic from Bolton, and you'd have to feel they'll step up and be stronger again in League One next year. Quite exciting times for the Trotters there. I think if you look at the other 2 teams that I had to go up, Salford, I think they had a good window. Henderson signing last summer, I thought really, really pushed them on this season. Again, they failed to get even a playoff place though, and the manager chopping and changing. You need stability at clubs. They're not happy sometimes that form or the way they play is not to the level they want. Will Gary Bowyer get that deal, and will he be the man to take them up next season? They'll be one of the favourites again. We'll see, but they missed out yet again. Looking at the bottom then, I predicted that Scunthorpe and Leyton Orient would get relegated to the National League. Scunthorpe came close, and they pretty much done well to get away from it in the end. They never really looked like they were going to be in trouble, but dragged down towards the bottom with the former Barrow towards the end of the season anyway. And Southend and Grimsby went down. Yeah. So Southend and Grimsby, who I said would be 8th and 6th, respectively, finished 23rd and 24th. Grimsby, I thought would have a good season. I thought Ian Holloway at the helm, they brought some good players in from non-league. But the owner structure and the way they were run, and Holloway wasn't happy with a few things, and it all spiralled, and eventually it was too much to take, and they've fallen out of the Football League yet again, and it's going to be a long road to get back in it with the strength of the teams in the National League. And Southend again, I thought, new era, new manager. Some of the players that have dropped down from League One with them stayed, and they looked pretty good. And I thought, okay, pre-season. Mark Mosley felt that they were gelling quite well, and hence why I put them 8th, but it just didn't work out that way, did it? And Southend were woeful for pretty much most of the season, slipping out of the Football League as well. Barrow, we got spot on with our prediction, 21st. Other sides that were kind of close to what we predicted, Walsall, they were there or thereabouts, weren't they? Bradford, we said would be lower, higher bottom table, at the bottom end of the bottom table when Bradford were. They were lower mid-table. Stevenage had a good season. I thought they would do better than what they did, and they did. Port Vale were pretty much where we were, mid-table. Same with Crawley. They finished mid-table. I thought they wouldn't have as good a season. But Lane Orient were right out there, weren't they? They were 11th. Thanks to the early goals of Danny Johnson, they never were in trouble whatsoever. Exeter City, I thought, well, they're bang on for the playoffs, and they kind of just missed out. Tranmere, we said prediction for the playoffs. They got there. Forest Green, done better than what I thought they would be. Morecambe, the team of the season for me. Punching above everything, probably one of the lowest budgets in that division. I thought they would be nowhere near the bottom two. I thought Derek Adams had really adjusted with the squad in the summer, and he is a decent manager for this level, getting the best out of people that he knows and has worked with before at clubs like Plymouth, etc. And Morecambe, I thought 16th would be a great season for them, but they finished 4th, and they find themselves in the playoff final against Newport County for a place in League One. The latter there, Newport County, are in the playoff final, and I said they'd be 22nd, third to bottom. I didn't think they would do much this year, you know. I thought they kind of like run their roost at the top of the table, and I felt like they might tumble a little bit this season, but it hasn't happened. And just so you guys know, if I predict you bottom of the league next year in League Two, prepare yourself for a decent season. That's 3 years in a row I've predicted the team to finish bottom, and they've never been anywhere near. So don't worry about that. But I'm chuffed I've predicted the champions. Got a lot of stick thinking Cheltenham Town. You know, was I a Cheltenham fan? I'm not a Cheltenham fan. I'm a fan of the way they play, and it's good to see them do well. But Cheltenham Town, I felt they really adjusted in the summer. I did the prediction before Ryan Broom left as well, and I thought with Broom's departure, that could hit them a little bit. But I was still quite confident they would win the league. They have done. They've gone up with Cambridge and Bolton. And one team I will not be predicting to go up next year, which I do every single season, and they never make it, is Mansfield Town. So there we have it, guys. They were my predictions for the start of the season, and they compared pretty miserably. But overall, a few success stories and what we predicted. And I hope you join us in the summer to do the predictions again for the season for 21-22. I'll be back in a few days' time to give you my Euro predictions. Will there be a couple of surprises in there as well? But don't forget to comment down below. How did your side get on this season? Did you think that you agreed with how I thought your season would go? And do you think that you'll have a stronger year next year? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for future football content. See you soon at the footy.